Going on.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm live. I had no idea I was about to go live. But anyway, we got a great show for you. This is Nerd Talk, and I'm Ortec the Batman, and we got a really cool guest, somebody that... Pixels sucked, by the way. That was a pixel. I just got a pixel thrown at me. It was the worst movie ever made, and John Gasson will complain about it. Go ahead and roll the intro. The quality of everything is just horrible.
Horrible.
Especially that stupid show, Walking Dead.
Hey!
Wait, no, we like Walking Dead. Yeah, welcome to Nerd Talk.
Don't make me get Merle's arm, wherever it's at.
It's over there, waiting to stab me. That's John Gasson, otherwise known as Boss Tech. We have Darth Taylor. This guy sitting just to my right is somebody that we've been looking forward to having on the show. His name's David Etheridge, and he has an extensive history in video games, toys, and savvy cards.
He kind of likes that. He lives that nerdvana.
He is the ultimate nerd. Yeah. Like, I feel less than nerdy around this guy.
Yeah. Oh, man. See, being a nerd is cool today, though. You young guys, it's cool.
You had to suffer through the 80s.
Back when we were doing it, it was like you couldn't get chicks. You couldn't. I mean, it was terrible.
And the ones you could get, you didn't want.
That's right.
I'm just saying.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, I mean...
Well, their glasses were typically that thick.
You could,
they never washed their hair, and they had skirts to the ground.
Oh, yeah? Well, even cool kids take one for the team.
Well, now you see
so
the cool kids
nerds could have taken
around.
one for themselves.
I mean, well, here's the thing. just the other day, high school, senior kid, he played football.
Yeah.
Walking around with an Iron Man shirt on. Like, he's like,
yeah, but he probably had
Iron
muscles,
Man.
right?
No, he was like the quarterback or some. He wasn't like, he was lean, but he wasn't like.
Well, see, those guys can. See. Here's what happens. You know, those guys come into our world, and they go get the superhero shirts because they've got the bodies for it. We've always worn them. We've always liked them. We've always done it. So it's
you guys call me no neck, and you're talking about buff dudes, and come on.
Yeah, but
you're not buff, Josh.
You know what I'm talking about.
Hey, lumpy space princess. If I wanted any whip out of you, I'd scrape it off Darth Taylor's zipper. Pipe down.
Hello. Well, this can get dangerous in here again, isn't it? Oh, Lord have mercy.
Hey, seriously though, there's nothing wrong with everyone getting into it. At least it's everywhere and it's acceptable. And like you said, it's mainstream. We don't have to go through the crap. No. I mean, even when I was in high school, if you read comics, jocks, you know, they would definitely make fun of you a little bit, but. You know, by my day, like we had enough of us nerds that were tired of it that we would stand up for ourselves.
It's mainstream. I mean, you look at Deadpool that opened 3 weeks ago, and it's one of the most successful movies, R-rated movies of all time.
That's not the first R-rated movie though. The R-rated comic book movie. I mean, we had The Crow, RoboCop. There was quite a few.
I thought Punisher, the first Punisher was R-rated.
That was the one I used in the.
But nothing like Deadpool.
Deadpool was like one of the highest grossing box office hits for the first weekend of any R-rated movie ever, and that's because it's cool to like superheroes now.
Yeah.
But you know, did it? Because I haven't fact checked this, so I'm just asking. How did it do against any of the other of the big blockbusters? Titanic, the Blue Monkeys, you know what I'm talking about? All the big boy stuff. I mean,
by Blue Monkeys, John's talking about Avatar.
I know.
I don't think he likes that movie.
Anyway,
it's right up there.
It grossed very well.
It's going to do $1 billion.
Right. Take the R away from it. It still held its own, which is awesome.
Well, I'll tell you this much: it wiped Star Wars from everybody's memory.
It did.
People were talking about Star Wars until Deadpool dropped. Now no one's talking about Star Wars anymore.
You know what I'm hungry for?
Deadpool, huh?
Tacos.
Chimichangas.
Tacos, chimichangas. I could eat anything right now because I'm truly actually hungry.
Normally, I don't promote others, but I'm going because you know why I like them? I get free whipped cream.
That's the worst coffee ever.
I get free whipped cream.
It tastes like
Dunkin' Donuts charged me, so I'm a Starbucks
coffee.
guy
It's
now.
chicory.
I don't care.
But the reason why we're here today is obviously to ask you about everything you've done in your career. Obviously, you worked with Hasbro and stuff like that.
Well, Hasbro was the end of the road.
Wait, let him give the rundown.
Yeah.
The rundown is like
because we got it briefly before the show, and it was stuff that. By the way, I met Dave on That Business Show with Jamie Maloney. Jamie shouted us out today on his show, Terrestrial Radio, which awesome. You can hear me acting like an idiot on that show every morning. If you want to hear more of me, which I don't know who would, but
why?
Yeah, go for it because I get to do it and it's fun. But that's where I met this guy, and you were on there promoting Savvy Card, which is an what would you call that? An invention.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like a digital business card, but it's a lot more than that, right?
Yeah. It's like a digital Rolodex.
Yeah, I mean so you know, one of the things that's going to happen in the next 10 years, I think, is that everything's going to have like a digital representation on the web. Everything, right? So there's going to be a digital representation of your house, of your car. You know, of all the people that you know, of all the products that you buy. So it's not going to be websites anymore. Like everything's going to have its own website, right?
Right.
And so, you know, if I see a really cool movie and I want to refer you, I want to share it with my friends, I'll bring up the card or the Savvy Card, hopefully, but a digital representation of that movie and then share it to everybody on social media.
Right.
And then, you know, you can just imagine, you know, if everything in your life, if every comic book that you liked, if every piece of music that you liked, every band that you liked had some type of like a digital business card for it, then it'd be really easy to share that with all the people that you know. Yeah. So that's the concept behind Savvy Card.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. But where did you actually get your start in media? Because that's basically your profession.
So actually, my coming out of college, I had studied musical theater, which kind of crazy.
Musical
College, musical theater. So I mean, like the last show I did was Little Shop of Horrors, which is a school.
I feel bad about the high school musical.
Right?
Yeah, that's
well,
awesome.
but here's the thing, okay? If you were in high school and you weren't able to be like a star quarterback or on the baseball team or whatever, then the best place to go if you were a straight guy to meet girls was theater, right?
Oh, I was always told church.
No, man. So if you're the only dude that's straight in the theater club, and there's like 15,
your odds are up
girls,
there.
You got pretty good odds.
It's like showing up to the meat buffet with a bunch of vegetarians.
So anyway, I came out of college, and it was funny because I was like 3 hours short of graduating. I didn't have my degree, and a girl that I was interested in went to Hollywood, and I followed her. So I left. I left without getting my degree. Yeah. So anyway, I went to Hollywood and worked for 2 years in film, and as a stand-in and a
hey James, we got a cool meter because it's like breaking the bubble at the top now.
All right, so if somebody wants to see, the only time when I was in Hollywood that I got onto film, I was in a movie called Sketch Artist 2, and with Drew Barrymore. And I was the coroner's. I was the coroner's assistant, and she dies in the movie, and I'm the one who's like the cops walk up, and I pull the sheet off of her body and like shake my head, and they turn around and walk away. I didn't even have a line, man. But I got to work.
Do you still get a royalty check from that?
No, because if you don't have a line, if you're a stand-in or an extra.
They just pay you for the
just
day.
get hourly.
Yeah.
It's day rate. Yeah. So.
But your name is at the end of that film.
It's not. Not anywhere in it.
Oh no way! The guy holding the sheet.
If you're
camera,
an extra,
so,
but I'm on camera,
yeah.
right? So, but if you're an extra or stand-in or body double or stunt double, I mean, you don't. Nobody even knows that you're there.
What a bummer, man.
But it was cool. It was fun, right? I got to work with Pat Morita on like Hard Bodies 4, and I got to Digstown Ringers with. Oh man, I can't remember the guy.
No wax on, wax off jokes at all? None?
What, Morita?
Yeah. Nobody's going to go Karate Kid right now? No. He just mentioned one of the coolest characters, or not characters, but actor that played one of the coolest characters ever, and you guys are just dead silence over there.
Yeah.
I'm really shocked.
Yeah.
We're definitely not worthy, man.
No, it was fun stuff. But 2 years doing that, and then I actually bumped into an actor who everybody's going to know, Dustin Hoffman, and it was at a party. And I was like, Mr. Hoffman, can you give me any advice to a young actor? And he said, like, find another career. Because it took him 30 years to make it, and they made him wear a dress, right? Yeah. So it was like, Hollywood is just, even back then, this is in 1990, Hollywood.
Oh, so right around Hook. Right around the time Hook came out.
Yeah, so Hollywood was so competitive, and it's even more so today. So,
for sure.
So I started looking around thinking, all right, I want to do something that's creative, right? And at that time, most of the people that are watching can't remember a time when like video wasn't a big deal, right? But back then you didn't have online video. There was no YouTube or anything. Too. Yeah, it was. It was very, very early. And so I started thinking, man, computer games were just becoming big business back then. And I was thinking, there's going to be an opportunity to, because I wanted to direct. That was what I really wanted to do. And I thought there's going to be an opportunity to do video in games. And so I decided I wanted to get into the gaming industry. And so I went and hooked on and got a job at Disney Interactive in Burbank. And got to do quality assurance testing and customer support. And then before I left Disney, I was an associate producer on some children's titles. And then I got my dream job, which was with a company called Microprose in Baltimore. And Microprose, most people have played a Microprose game, even if they don't remember Microprose, because Civilization,
this
Pirates.
This is before Sid left.
It was before Sid left and went to Firaxis, which is, where he is now. But Civilization, all the early flight simulators like F-117A and F-16 and so forth, those were all Microprose products. And then Pirates and Railroad Tycoon, which was I
played Pirates. And
yes, it was
Pirates
a great game,
awesome,
wasn't it?
Yeah, Pirates was so rad. And I forgot how I had played it, but when I played it, it was on Xbox. Yeah. It was way later. I mean,
that's one of those things where they ported an old classic title to console, but it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool because this was like right at the beginning when the original XCOM. at Microprose when we published the original XCOM, and it was developed by Microprose UK.
Right.
And when they sent it over, it was like we were just blown away. We'd never seen a game like that, an isometric, top-down isometric view game like that, squad-based tactics. And,
village building, things like that.
Well, I mean, so if you remember Railroad Tycoon and then Roller Coaster Tycoon, which when I was at Hasbro, we had Roller Coaster Tycoon. Anyway.
Speaking of Hasbro, but anyway, we'll get to that in a minute.
And speaking of Roller Coaster Tycoon and many, many, many hours I spent on that freaking game.
I know, the wear is still on your face.
Oh, I love it. Dude.
So.
That's a good question I always like to ask people. I mean, what game have you wasted the most hours on?
At this point, I would have to say it would be like mostly Bethesda games like Skyrim or Oblivion or something like that.
Oh, come on, man. Fallout 4, just say it.
I haven't put over 1,000 hours on Fallout 4 yet.
It's too new, man.
I'm getting there. But at Skyrim, I just checked
This is coming from a guy that scheduled a tooth pulling so he could just sit home and play that game. That's literally what he did.
But
awesome,
Skyrim,
man.
I mean, I just checked the other day. I have 2,700 hours on Skyrim.
Wow, I'm probably pretty close, man.
I have that with Diablo 2.
Yeah,
Diablo 2 is another really great game. But
Diablo 3, not so much.
Pong.
No, that's old school nerdy.
No, if you had 2,700 hours on Pong, I'd be like recommending a therapist.
Yeah,
You played that a lot.
Get a girlfriend, buddy.
Well, that was the other thing I was wasting time on. But hey, I remember. I mean, these games are all.
They're all great. I love the Coleco games. That's what they were. Especially Miss Pac-Man. It's probably one of my favorite video games ever. My skateboard is all the ghosts from Pac-Man. And I bought it because I love the imagery from that. And remember in the 80s?
Old arcade games, man. Robotron. I wasted so many quarters on Robotron, man.
Yep.
So many quarters.
Mercs. That was one of my favorite games, Mercs.
Do you remember when Tempest first came out?
Yep.
Were you young enough to? You do.
I do.
Tempest was like
I was rocking arcades in '86. I was about 6 years old when I started getting my hands on them.
There you go. That's
and it started with
Tempest.
the mini arcade games. Remember those? I was in Pennsylvania and I found one in somebody's room somewhere and started playing it. And they're like, if you like that, check this out. And we went to a corner store, and that's where I found I don't even remember what game it was, to be honest with you. But I grew up at a corner store over here, another one in a laundromat, and then the laundromat had Samurai Showdown, and then the corner store had Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Oh yeah.
And and Bubble Trouble with the little dinosaurs that spit the bubbles out, and you got to match the colors and stuff.
Yeah.
Many days, not hours, no, days.
Yeah, Street Fighter 2 was,
amazing game.
That was an amazing game.
Yeah.
So what was the first?
When Sid, I don't mean to cut you off, but when Sid made the jump, did you go with him?
No. I had left Microprose before. So I worked with Sid on Magic the Gathering, the PC version of Magic the Gathering.
I played that game, really?
So
crazy.
It's kind of interesting because when Magic came out, the card game.
Yeah, it was around 92, 93.
Yeah, so I was a producer and a designer at Microprose, and we, like my team, I had a couple of developers and a designer that worked on my team with me. Once a week we would go over to the mall next door to the game store, comic book game store, and we would check out the new games that were being published. And so we walked in one day and they had this new game out. It was like the original like alpha cards, or beta, actually it was beta cards for Magic the Gathering.
Wow, man, that's bringing back memories.
We bought a bunch of packs, a starter deck and a bunch of packs, and we went and got a cheeseburger or something and played, right? And we were always on the lookout for cool games that we could maybe license and turn into computer games. And we sat down, and after like an hour of playing the game, we were like, this is it. This is going to change everything. And so we got on the phone and called Wizards of the Coast, Peter Adkison, who was the president of Wizards of the Coast back then, and got through to him. I mean, they didn't know at that point what they had, right? They just printed, maybe 1 million cards at that point.
Right.
And we called him up and said, listen, we're from Microprose, and we'd like to talk to you about licensing the software. And he's like, Microprose, like Civilization Microprose? And we were like, yeah. And so we did a licensing deal, like within 6 months of Magic hitting the market, the paper cards hitting the market,
quick.
we already had the rights for the computer.
That's incredible. And that's what we do, too. We're concept guys. Like, we build concepts, and then we try to get... And you guys made out like bandits. That's incredible.
Well, I mean, we were too early because, I mean, when we licensed the game, there weren't any multiplayer games out there. Like the first multiplayer game I ever saw was like Orcs versus Humans, right? Which was
Warcraft.
Which was Warcraft, right? But the original title, it was like Orcs. It was Orcs versus Human Warcraft.
What was the second one? It was I forget. It was
Command and Conquer.
Yeah, that's the other one. Command and Conquer is still around too.
Yeah. So those were the first two we'd ever seen. Those came out after we licensed Magic. So when we originally started working on Magic, it was going to be a single player game.
Right.
And then we started playing multiplayer games, and we were like, man, we gotta figure this out. But yeah, it was cool. It was pretty cool to be involved with those guys.
Especially to have your name tied to such a huge property.
Huge
like
product.
Magic right now is just it's taken over the gaming industry completely.
So the coolest thing happened the other day. I was on a bulletin board just looking at reading about Magic and some of the stuff that's happened with the computer game. And somebody's gone and dusted off the code from the original Magic the Gathering and republished it as freeware. And there's like a huge following of, huge, it's probably a couple thousand people that are modifying the original code that we published back in the 90s. And the game is what we envisioned it to be. Like they've modded it so that it's the game that we envisioned.
They picked up the ball and ran with it.
That's right.
And just made vast improvements.
That's right.
Do you happen to know a link?
I don't know. Just search for Microprose Magic the Gathering, and you'll find it.
I'm definitely gonna check that out later today.
Yeah.
I got some stuff I got to do, but because that game was fun. It was a cool game.
It was a cool game. Yeah, it was a cool game.
But we're up against the break, so
we're getting yelled at.
Yeah, in our ear, James is Josh break.
Break.
So you gotta take a break. We'll be right back.
Take a break.
I'm gonna grab some water.
He is typing in.
I'm out here at E&D Games. You're watching Max Play Live presents Random Reports, and I'm here with Dave Growney, who is the mastermind behind a lot of what we do in the show, The Arena. He handles the model making, the miniatures, and also helps with James Hollingsworth in the writing of the story content of the show. And also he runs this cool store where you can buy neat stuff like Magic the Gathering, War Machine, and Hordes, and also the game that our show is pretty much based on, which is Dungeons and Dragons.
Some of these weren't done by me. Some of these were done by people and customers in our store for other games. This is one by Mike Coates, who we may know from Max Play Live.
I like to call him Moss Man.
I got other names for him, but we're not going to say that on air. Anyway, kidding.
Moss Man. He's Moss Man. So I noticed that you have this, it looks like an Atlantean altar, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Is that something we're going to be seeing later on in the arena?
It could be. That's one of the plans. That's possibly one of the things.
So you're saying there's surprises?
Oh yeah, we got tons of ideas coming up. Me and James Hollingsworth do a lot of the writing for what goes on in the storyline. James is obviously more in control of it because he's the one actually running it when the game's going on.
Yeah, James is the DM for the show.
Right. I usually sit in the background and just kind of give him some ideas to run with the other way, and then get all the documentation in order to go with what we need to construct outside of the arena and get all the minis together, like you said, and then Kayla will help, build it, craft it, make something. If we have to custom make a mini like we did here, paint like she did. She's working on these, which are other things you might see in the arena. Kayla puts almost more time, I'm going to say, than just about anybody else, myself included, fully into this project.
And I also noticed, just being here at E&D Games, walking through the back, I see that there's specific areas set up for modeling. I know it's not just for the show, it's also for your business, but it's set up for modeling and painting and molding and anything any customers would need, as well as helping us out on the show.
Lazy.
But I'm Ortec the Batman. This is Dave Growney, and I'm not a fan. I am Batman.
Logan's the real Batman.
No,
Just ask him.
He's Earth 2 Batman.
And maybe.
Yeah. Or I'll be Thomas Wayne, whatever. Later.
See ya.
And then I'm gonna get in trouble like when Greg yelled at me for being too funny during the breaks.
And like
not,
coming back from the break and talking about stupid stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. We talk about stuff. But anyway,
did you get a countdown?
I did get a countdown.
Oh, I didn't.
I was ignoring it.
Out.
I completely ignored James for the rest of the show. I'm not going to listen to him. I'm just going to do whatever I want.
This is what happens to us. We get rolling, and Jim will go, "Hey,
it's time to go to break."
Time to go to break. It's like, put the brakes on everything.
It smells like a wet carpet too.
But everyone else, all the other shows, he'll be like 5 minutes, 4 minutes,
we get
3 minutes. But us, it's just
how come we don't get countdowns,
Time
James?
to go Time to go to break.
Yeah, but it's more authentic that way, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, welcome
see.
back to Nerd Talk. I'm more Tech the Batman. That's Boss Tech, Darth Taylor. This is Dave Etheridge. I'll think of a cool nickname for him, like maybe Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Just call him Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the
right.
smelly carpet back over there, TD and the whole show. So before we went to break, though, I was about to ask you about your involvement with Sid Meier. How did that work out? Because I remember on the business show, you had made mention that you learned a ton from this guy.
Yeah, so Sid's a really interesting dude. So Civilization, the concept for Civilization came from one of those coffee table books about like the history of the world.
Yeah.
So he apparently bought this coffee table book. It's one of those thick books like this. It starts off in like 4000 BC and then comes all the way to the modern times.
Right.
And he apparently got that book and was, reading, through the book and said, I'm going to build a computer game that starts at 4000 BC and goes through modern time, right?
Yeah.
So he was one of those guys who would just come up with an idea in his head and then just go code it, right? And he didn't need a designer, he didn't need a graphics guy, he didn't need, an art, he didn't need anybody. He just coded his own stuff, right? And so he also was like a really private guy, and it was hard to get to know him. It was hard to I would walk in sometimes to his office and say, Sid, do you need anything? He'd be like, nope. And that was it,
huh?
right? So you just walk out and go work on something else, right?
There must be a trend between all geniuses that they're just not people.
Well,
they just ignore people.
He was
or,
he's a really
connect.
nice guy, but he's very private, and he was in his head, right? He was always in his own head, and so you go in and you interrupt him, and he's I don't know. I'm just making assumptions, but you got to think he's in there figuring out how to code some AI that's never been coded before for a game. I mean, but anyway, he was a really nice guy. And he was really
Basically
cool to
not
work
normal
with.
human thought.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Like, there's a story. The guy who started Microprose is a guy named Wild Bill Staley, and he was kind of a sales guy, right? And Sid was his partner.
Is he also a gunslinger?
Well, he's one of those guys that gives himself his own nickname because he's that kind of guy, right? So
I know a few people like that.
yeah. So anyway, he was apparently at a convention, like a computer game convention, arcade convention, and he met Sid, and Wild Bill Staley was playing some flight simulator arcade game, right? And he had the top score, like all 10 top scores. And Sid watched him for a little while, and he said, Bill Staley said, you want to try? I bet you can't beat my top score. And Sid steps over and basically completes the game. Because he's figured
like the
out
plot of Wizards or something.
He's figured out the algorithms. I mean, he's been looking at the game and going, okay, I know the algorithm or the AI for the opponents, and I can predict where they're going to be. And so it was trivial for him, and he just walked through it.
That's funny, man. Was Fred Savage there, challenging people after?
No, I mean, Bill Staley probably has a lot in common with Fred Savage. So.
That's awesome.
But anyway, yeah, it was really. I was really blessed to have a chance to work with Sid. I mean, they're icons in every industry,
right,
and when you have a
He's
chance to
definitely
work
one
with
of them.
somebody like that, he's the grandfather of computer games. I mean,
Right.
if you're a kid out there and you don't know who Sid Meier is, go wiki him right now, because I mean, all the great games that you have today.
He's the reason for it.
He's the reason for it.
He's a prototype.
Well, the best thing that he did was he proved that you could create games that could be really profitable, right? Because if Sid hadn't created all these games that sold millions of units, right, then you wouldn't have all these other companies that come along later that get into the business of creating computer games.
Yeah. Coleco.
I watched that whole Atari documentary where they went to the dump.
Oh, E.T. Yeah.
Where they buried everything.
That guy still ate up to the creator of it. He's like, I only have 2 days to make the game. Rah! And he's all whining.
But
like,
because of
just own it.
Sid, those guys exist.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For sure. But moving on, you also work for Hasbro. How did you get involved in Hasbro, and what exactly did you do at Hasbro?
Yeah, so my boss at Microprose, is a guy named Tony Parks. He ran R&D for Microprose when I got there, and then he left and went to Hasbro, because Hasbro at that time was a game company.
Yeah, they were like
Mr.
board
Potato
games and
Head
things like that, yeah.
Monopoly and stuff. So they had started an interactive division called Hasbro Interactive, strangely enough, and they asked Tony to come from Microprose to run that division. Right. So A couple of years after he left, he reached out to me and said, hey, they've got an opening for a business development director. And business development at a gaming company like that, your job is to basically go out and talk to all of the people that have great ideas or prototypes for toys, and to look at them and say, make a decision, do I think this is going to be fun or not? Do I think people will buy this or not? And if you think that it's a cool item, a cool toy or a game, you bring it back and you work with sales and marketing to basically put together a business case for how much can it make, what's it going to cost, how will we market it, and all that kind of stuff. And then you pitch it to the board, and if the board approves it, then it goes into production and becomes a toy that you can buy at the store, right? And we're not always right. Like one of the companies that was a part of Hasbro was Tiger Electronics, and they're the ones who did Furby.
I love Tiger Electronics. So
they're the ones who did Furby, though, right?
Yeah, well.
And Furby was a
special place
disaster.
in my heart for
Failure
Furby.
beyond failure.
You ever see that? There's a dude.
I love my Furby.
I knew he was
Of
going to
course
say.
James would
It was
love it.
awesome.
He
I like
loves
Furby
a
too, but he had to jump
I'm
in.
growing my hair out just for my Furby.
You look like a Furby.
Exactly.
You look just like a
Yeah,
Furby.
he looks like a
Sure
Furby
you're
where
not
they ripped the face hair off.
Are you sure you're not
His
confusing
eyeballs and
Furby
beard.
and furry?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, good question.
No, he's definitely in the fur. He probably collects the little cheap McDonald's ones too. All they do is move the eyes. Those are boring. You can't talk to them. They don't reply to nothing. Wait a minute. No. Hey, so Hasbro.
Sometimes they do.
While you were at Hasbro, you were there when a very monumental moment in toy history happened, where Kenner was bought out by Hasbro and Star Wars changed hands.
Yeah. So before that happened, we licensed the game rights for Star Wars, and later on, Kenner got acquired so that they could get all the toy rights, right? But while I was there, we purchased Avalon Hill, right? So all those great board games that again younger folks might not remember, but we purchased Avalon Hill, we purchased Atari, their games library. We licensed NASCAR, we licensed Harry Potter, we licensed Magic the Gathering. Well, we acquired TSR, Hasbro acquired TSR, which had previously purchased Wizards of the Coast.
Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, so actually it was the other way around. Wizards of the Coast purchased TSR. I think the TSR brand was, at that time, was stronger than Wizards of the Coast. Now it's not, right? But,
which is really weird how that happened. Like, you'd figure that Wizards would get chewed up and spit out by TSR.
TSR, I mean, look, Dungeons and Dragons,
That's all they had.
fantastic, but it never made a fraction of the money that Magic the Gathering
did,
or Pokemon or any of the
Yeah,
card
Pokemon
games.
and Magic went more streamlined, mainstream.
Mainstream.
For sure.
And Dungeons and Dragons just never got out of the
card
dungeon.
games were brand new.
Yeah.
And that, like, whenever you have it's a genre game, so whenever you have something like that happen, it's over with. Like War Machine right now is taking over everything.
Well, Dungeons and Dragons, to me, like personally, before we started doing the show over here, or before I got here, personally, if you ever said anything about Dungeons and Dragons, all I would think about is the guy, 4 really, really, really nerdy guys sitting around. All right, so we're gonna put this thing over here, and we're gonna move it over here, and that's all I ever thought about.
What
Dungeons
show are
and
we
Dragons.
on again? Is this Jock Talk?
I'm talking
Who are you? I don't
about.
even know you right
the
now.
arena.
I don't know you anymore. Like,
Well, dude, I mean, I just wasn't a Dungeons and Dragons fan.
My first, like the first time I even seen a D&D product, I was hooked. I was like, what is this?
Not me,
You
man.
weren't like that at all?
Yeah,
Even
I
back,
was like you.
Yeah, the
even
first
back,
time I saw
even
it,
back
I'm
then,
like,
I thought it
what's
was
this?
really cool. But the problem is to find the people in the school that played.
Yeah, exactly. I had the
Was
same problem.
nearly impossible because it's like no one really wanted to talk about this is what we do. It was very not cool. I mean,
So my sister was like 3 years younger than I was, and I used to like drag her up and run her through dungeons and kill her. So I was like, we're gonna roll a character. She was like 11, I was 14, because there was nobody else. I lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere.
That's how lame I am. I did the same thing, but with Mousetrap.
Yeah. So but were you the
That
same
stumped
way?
you, didn't it? You were like, I don't know how to come back from that.
No, when I got to
really
college,
friendly, pal.
when I got to college and found out there were other people that actually played these games.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think my first year of college, I probably didn't go to a class because I
Where'd
was
you go to
playing
school?
University of Texas at Austin.
okay.
But I was playing
Of all
Starfleet
places
battles.
to be a nerd too.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Jeez.
Well, Steve Jackson Games is in Austin, right?
Steve Jackson Munchkin, one of my favorite games.
So Car Wars, which I don't know if you guys ever played Car Wars, but great game. But we were playing Starfleet battles, Car Wars, Dungeons and Dragons, and you know, that was back when people were first doing not esports, but the first competitive gaming was happening, like conventions and stuff. It was really a cool time.
That is cool. Like that's the birth of all of it. Now we have huge cons like MegaCon, JordanCon, FusionCon, which we're about to roll right now because we're up against the break. So we're gonna go ahead and watch this FusionCon video, and we'll be right back.
What's up, guys? I'm Tech the Batman, and I'm out here at FusionCon. FusionCon is being held at the Verizon Event Center right off Little Road on the corner of Trouble Creek and Little Road, as a matter of fact. It's a great event, and actually Super Mario is standing right here. Hey, Super Mario, how you doing? Hey, I'm Tech the Batman.
All right, what's going on?
This is Super Mario.
What's going on, guys?
See all the cool stuff that's going on here at FusionCon? I also got to interview and meet the guys from Tromaville. I got to meet and interview quite a few other people, like the guys from 501st are here, the Ghostbusters are here.
Yeah, Ghostbusters in the back. I saw them. They're cool. Love Ghostbusters. Big fan of
Ghostbusters are awesome.
Yep.
And then their costumes are really cool, huh?
Yeah. Hey, my name? Hector.
Hector.
Yeah.
Good to meet you, Hector.
Hey, nice to meet you.
This is how you just do a walk-up interview.
Oh, yeah.
Walk-up interview. I'm also the king of awkward. Thanks for coming on real quick. So this is definitely the intro I'm going to use, even though I shot like 50 of them because I keep screwing them up. But also our good friends, the Gamers Guild, are here, and Yancey Street Comics and Fierce Comics. So I hope you guys dig the video that I put together.
You're having a great time at FusionCon 2016. Who are you gonna call?
Walking like a big monkey bud, and I'm busting out my brains for the nerds.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, we're here at FusionCon. Love it. It's great for Port Richey to actually finally have a Comic-Con, and we're excited about it. I'm with J&W, Man Cave. We're here, we're set up. Come on out, man. It's going to be great. You know? This is Warren with Man Cave, J&W Video Games. We're out at FusionCon. We're having a great time.
Hi, my name is Rob Ryan. I work with Fierce Comics. I'm the creator and writer and artist, well not writer, but of The Maniacal Smile. Our company does a lot of local stuff from Florida. We're based out of St. Petersburg, and you should definitely check it out. We're here at FusionCon trying to plug all of our stuff and get as rich as humanly possible.
What's up, guys? I'm Tech the Batman, and I'm standing here with Mark, the event planner and the guy responsible for bringing FusionCon to Newport Richey, which is pretty awesome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you coming out and covering the event and giving us all this exposure to your audience. I really appreciate that.
Well, from us at Max Play Live, we appreciate you letting me come here and shoot video. It's not every day that a guy just walks up and says, hey, can I shoot a bunch of video? How many booths are actually here?
We have 54 vendors here today.
54 vendors.
Yeah, this is just something we wanted to do for the local community, and it turned out amazing. And I can't thank everybody enough who came out to the event, for the people who supported us on social media, and the people who got the word out there. It's been amazing. I couldn't ask for anything else, and I really appreciate everybody's support.
see any anime stuff.
Actually,
I'm a huge fan of
yeah,
anime.
we're yeah. The anime's
dude,
awesome.
Ninja Scroll's like one of my favorite movies. Welcome back to Nerd Talk.
Welcome back.
I'm Ortec the Batman. This is our guest, Dave Etheridge. That's Darth Taylor. That's John Gaston. And back in there is Lumpy Space Princess, otherwise known as Uttertech the Sausage Link. Or Furby. We'll call you Furby from now on.
Furby. I like Furby.
Yeah,
Or his
Furby.
real name, which is James.
Well, it's Jim. He doesn't like Jim.
He likes Jim.
James,
Yeah.
Jim,
James,
Jay.
Jim, Jimmy, whatever.
There's
Whatever
John.
you do,
for dinner.
John, late-
I'm the only one who
You stole my line.
I'm the only one who goes against the
Yeah.
mold with the T in the name. I mean,
So that
James
was
T.
our,
Kirk?
that was our coverage of Fusion Con. I went and I pounded the pavement a little bit. It was a lot of fun.
You
There
did
was
a good
lot of
job.
cool stuff there. Well, Taylor edited it. All I
Yeah,
did
and
was
I can
shoot
see
it.
that with a whole.
I was totally macking on Harley Quinn and her boyfriend snatched her away from me.
Yeah, what was that?
It was not fair. That's what
No, I
that
mean
was.
the jitteriness.
What
I don't know.
jitteriness?
I have no
It was
idea.
weird.
It didn't do.
I was jittery.
Before.
I was standing next to Harley Quinn.
Not
Would you
that.
be jittery?
I don't know.
What
Part
are
of
you
it got
talking
like
about?
weird.
It's a Taylor project.
He's
You know,
not talking
it is what it is.
anymore. Look at that. He listened. Did you see
oh
that?
my God.
In the first time in the history of the show that I said, James, stop talking, and he did.
Yeah.
Ever.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Man, why do you gotta-
I tell you
he
what,
plays with my
I'm listening
emotions.
to everything going on in there, and it sounds like he's writing a novel.
He's not. He's chewing on peanuts or something.
Oh
So-
boy. No,
Wait.
he's clicking right now. He's clicking.
He's chewing.
Well, I'm doing our
He's
other
chewing.
shows too.
You're
Oh, that's
doing
right. We have
other
another.
shows?
Yeah, we have another show
that
right
goes
now
off.
live. It's on another channel right now.
I'm making sure that,
Well, don't
that's all
watch that
good.
one. Watch this
Yeah,
one.
watch this one.
This one's better.
We like Brandon, but we like ourselves better.
So, Dave, usually on the first show of the week, we go over Walking Dead. Do you happen to be a fan?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I was a fan of the comic book though before the.
I bet you
television
love hearing
series.
that, don't you? He bought the compendium to catch up because he got tired of hearing how great the comic is,
Well,
which it is a great comic.
The comics always better than the.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's getting really good. Are you caught up on the comics?
I'm not caught up. So what I do is
don't know,
generally
Deadpool did a
go and
pretty good
buy
job.
like the trade.
Yeah, oh
you know.
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, it's so hard to keep up with a weekly book.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're just keeping up with one. Like right now, I'm chasing DK3. You know, Frank Miller and The Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
Back in the '80s, he released it. Basically, he's credited officially, in my opinion, which is not officially at all, as giving Batman his balls back. So this is the third, and which he kind of ruined it with DK2.
So how are you pretty excited for Superman versus
Oh yeah,
Batman?
for sure, because it's totally drawn from Dark Knight Returns.
It is, and you know,
it's basically the movie version of Dark Knight Returns.
So it's funny. I heard one of my friends has a kid that's I don't know, he's 10 or 11 years old, and he really likes Batman and everything. He's like talking about the movie and the plot for the movie as if that's where the idea for Superman versus Batman, you know, came.
Like first came from.
Yeah. And so I was telling my friend, I was like, you have to go buy Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and give it to your kid and like
Wait,
educate
are you
him.
sure that's a good idea? With the mutants and everything, that book was pretty brutal.
Oh, come on! Compared to some of the stuff,
Oh, yeah,
compared
you're
to Deadpool, the
compared to anime.
Yeah.
So
No.
we were at Deadpool.
Oh, if you bring your kid to, like, if your kid's under, I'd say, what, 15?
We were at Deadpool,
And
and
you
there was
bring him to
a couple
Deadpool?
next to us who had a 6-year-old kid at Deadpool.
Oh, man. That kid's going to be a winner in life.
Did he stay the entire film?
Oh, he was riveted.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I need to go see that movie and make it past the parking lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
I
haven't gone yet.
It's the company
I
I
haven't
keep.
time.
You guys haven't seen it yet?
No, I haven't had time. I was going to take my son. My son came down with the grandbaby.
Right.
And mom.
Which was
and,
on our last Nerd Talk,
Yep.
by the way.
And mom and grandbaby and daughter-in-law were going to go, and I was going to take the boys, but we never got to go.
We are not up on our nerdyism. Because, Dave, that's the first thing you said. You seen Deadpool? You can talk about it, man. I don't care. I'm
I don't
cool
care.
with spoilers.
No.
But he was mad.
You want to save that for another episode of the show.
I heard that people could tell you about the movie and you still won't get everything, though.
Yeah, no, you won't.
But there's way more into it than.
It's an awesome film.
But
Awesome
speaking
film.
of the dead,
Yeah. Because that's
did you,
what we started off on.
have you
Rabbit
caught
hole.
up? Have you caught up?
No, I didn't catch up.
You watched, right?
Of course I did. The new
Yeah.
episode, it's setting up for such. Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Has Negan been shown?
No, but they're talking about him.
But
they're talking about Negan.
he's either going to show up next episode or the one
Did
after.
they tease the bat at all, Lucille? Did they tease it?
No, they didn't.
Jesus actually talked about it.
I
He
heard something
talked
weird
about
about
how
Dead,
he
Walking Dead.
Well,
he
yeah,
talked
but
about he brought up he killed somebody with a bat.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
but it was mainly the fact that Hilltop has been terrorized by Negan.
Yeah.
Right.
And now Rick and his crew are going to go get their people from Negan.
That's sort of how it kind of
That
plays
is.
out
At
in the
least
comic.
that's what they think they're
that's
going to
gonna
do.
do.
And that's not how it plays
They
out in the
don't
comics.
realize that, because they have
Negan
no
totally
clue how bad it is.
Negan is so much worse than Rick is ever even realizes, and when Rick does what he's about to do, he's going to
I have a
regret it.
feeling that this will be when Rick, regrets the decision to kind of go against the governor. Because that would have been epic, man. If they would have did anything different than what they've done in the comics, was pit the governor versus Negan, the two most sickest dudes in that whole universe, and put them together and have Rick right in the middle.
The governor's
That
like a
would've been awesome.
5-year-old child that's playing with Barbies compared to Negan.
Well, all I know is if it was up to me, I'd
What the
send
hell did you play with when you were a kid?
I
man?
would send Carol in with cookies and flowers. Just saying.
Oh,
So I heard on the internet
So
that
are
if
you
you
guys
don't
like
watch,
continuity? What is he?
oh sorry,
Yeah, he's rambling.
no, if
What were
you
you
don't
saying?
watch
Wait,
the
is
season
someone
finale,
Someone
if you don't watch the season finale, you'll miss stuff because they're going to censor it because the first running of it is not censored.
Really?
That's what I heard. I don't know how
Oh,
true
so
it is.
be
It
on the
hasn't
lookout.
happened yet,
So
but
that means
James coming with some
I know what that means.
information.
They're going to try and get away with the F word.
Yep, they're going to throw the F-bomb finally.
and then
Why not?
every
I mean,
airing
it's-
afterwards
It's
is
AMC,
censored.
dude.
Well, I tell you what, last episode was the first time they've had two couples doing it, right?
Yeah. And they've actually been, I've been noticing this, is they've been saying shit a lot more.
Yes.
And they've been trying to make it more prevalent and more like just happen more inside of the show just to get ready for Negan. Because Negan,
Yeah, he's definitely.
Yeah, you can't have him going, well, Fart City,
Yeah.
or wait a minute, Battlestar Galactica, well, frack.
well,
Nah, it doesn't
you've
work.
read the comics,
The
correct?
Fracco was also a logo
Fracco.
thing.
Well, in the comics, there's an entire page
Of
of
just him
Negan going
swearing his brains out.
Frick that motherfucker, like he just goes
Off, yeah.
off, and
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
him. That's literally Negan, and I would
You
not be
can't pull
surprised.
Negan off, and the guy that's playing him, man, I can't believe I forgot his name, but he played help
The
me out,
guy's
guys.
name-
And
I know who
Watchmen,
you're
he
talking
played
about.
the comedian in
Yes.
the Watchmen. You don't
Really?
remember his-
Yeah, I know
it's
who
the
you're
same
talking
guy.
about. I can't remember
I
his name.
can't think of his name, but
I'm
you know,
about to
that-
fact check that right
He's-
now.
So,
Yeah.
so how are you guys on continuity? Like, do you like it when, like a television or a movie,
I like it to go off the track.
I do too.
You like for it to
Oh, yeah,
change.
dude.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
okay.
wanna
I'm
see the
okay with
same
that. I'm okay
story.
with them going down their own paths
Yeah.
because, yeah,
Jeffrey Morgan.
Jeffrey Morgan, thank you. See,
I'm
That's why
okay.
we have
Yeah, it's
iPhones.
not a big deal. It's really not.
I personally see it this way, and I've always seen it this way. Movies and TVs are different universes from the comic books, and comics have actually done different
It's
universes.
gone even deeper than that too, with TV versus movie verse.
So I think I see
Unless
it this
you're
way.
Marvel.
Like all the Marvel movies, all the DC movies, I'm seeing it as a brand new universe, a brand new slate to basically make a new Batman. And if you want to like it, you can. If you want to hate it, you can.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. But it's just.
Are you voting for Hillary?
Yeah, what the hell's
Am I
going on
voting
here?
for Hillary?
Man, you were like totally.
No, he's a
PC.
Sanders supporter.
Sanders, I got it.
You know what he did? He ate the brownie.
He drank
Next
the
week he'll be
Kool-Aid.
wearing a rug.
Break time.
He'll be wearing a
It's
rug.
not my fault you guys left the brownies sitting out, man. I didn't know what they were.
Got to get through the day.
It was just oregano, dude. You're not really high.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
It's a placebo effect.
We just wanted you to think that you were.
But
So.
I like seeing something new on TV shows. I like seeing
For
new
sure, yeah.
movies because I don't want to see the
It's
same
not necessarily
stuff.
the stories that we're all involved with
Right,
anyway.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
the characters. So if you put them in new situations that are sort of familiar, I guess, like
Yeah.
with Batman v. I'm going to say versus. Okay,
I hate that
let's just
V.
get it out. Batman versus Superman. We know it's going to draw heavily from The Dark Knight Returns,
Yeah.
but there's a ton of elements that weren't from that.
Yeah, and that's
Like Doomsday.
my concern is that you get bad writers, right? You
Yeah.
get bad writers who take something that's like a sublime storyline, like
Like Freddy versus Jason.
exactly sublime.
Mark
Yeah,
Hamill,
he's
Jaden
sublime.
Swift.
You get bad writers and they just butcher something, and
Yeah.
then instead of
It's a cash cow at that point.
yeah, I mean they're just bastardizing the brand. They're just
Yeah.
taking advantage of a brand, and this is one of the things that I really hate. I love the fact that there are television shows for all these DC and Marvel characters now, but then I watch an episode of The Flash and I see all of this teen angst crap going on between Iris and
Barry. Yeah.
Well, Iris and some other dude that's not even involved with Barry.
Yeah.
It's like, if I wanted to see this, I'd like watch, I'd
Dawson's
watch
Creek.
Dawson's Creek or something. Exactly.
I'm here to see the Flash.
It's like
Dawson's Creek.
let's focus on the Flash.
I
Right?
have the same problem with Charmed. Like, I just wanted to see how chicks battling out with Maverick.
Did we just go that way?
Oh my God!
What? My mom liked it. I was stuck in the
Yeah,
living room.
sure.
Yeah.
On that note, we need to take a break.
All right,
I
we're
think
gonna go
Josh
take a
needs
break,
Mom.
He needs to find his balls. We'll be back.
Next thing we know, it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Hey now,
Let's take
don't hate on
ground,
Buffy.
buddy. Yeah, that's how
Don't hate
ground.
on
The
on Joss
original
Whedon.
Buffy was awesome.
Yep.
What's up, everybody? You're watching Max Play Live presents Random Reports, and I'm back at E&D Games to interview James Hollingsworth, Part 3. That's what I like to call him, because he's more like a movie. If you ever met the guy, it's kind of like watching a movie. Anyways, I'm Ortec the Batman, and check these guys again with this fan crap. I'm not a fan. Anyway, watch the stupid interview.
Like, I know I gave you, like, a sheet, like I said you had. Yeah, that's like that.
If you guys listen close, right now, Dave Growney and James Hollingsworth, Part 3, are actually going over the script and the story for Max Play Live Presents The Arena. I wonder if I can interrupt and get a friggin' interview, because I've been standing here for about 10 minutes listening to him jabber. What's up, James?
Are you seriously going to give me that 10-minute speech after you made me wait 40 minutes for you to show up with your little camera? Is that how we're doing this? Is that how we're starting off this interview?
My bad. Yeah, you do have a point there, but, I'm the guy with the camera, so just be careful what you say, because, editing, I can make you look like an orc or a goblin or some crap. Anyways, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good.
How often do you have to adjust an encounter or the main storyline? Just adapt as play goes, or do you guys have, things in the back of your pocket, ideas in the back of your pocket that you could just use randomly, or, do you guys kind of go with the flow?
Well, for a lot of it, we have to go with the flow, especially after the encounters are done. What they want to do once they're released from that encounter of the arena is pretty much up to them, and I have to invent things like Adler's abacuses. Well, I do enjoy a good song. It helps cut down on exposition, which I find incredibly boring.
I walk a desert of shattered and broken dreams, and looking back I see the face of the most devilish of fiends. At the stables where I worked, he sat there by the cells, charming, laughing, smiling. Hello, my name is Wells. Oh! He doesn't like.
So when you get to use music to express the motives of a character, it's rare that opportunity pops up. But as a DM, you can orchestrate it better.
Well, who wrote the song?
I did.
Seriously?
Yeah, I wrote. Who would I get to write the song?
This is James Hollingsworth, Part 3. Thank you for the interview, and we look forward to seeing you DM many more arena shows. Thanks, dude.
All right, thank you.
Fist bump. Anyways, thanks for watching. This has been Random Reports presented by Max Play Live. We're at E&D Games. Check out the little message thing down there for all the Twitter and all that crap. I don't feel like doing it because I'm lazy, right?
You're not that lazy. I believe you.
You're ruining. Shh, no. Turn off the camera.
Rock Daisy Dukes, and I'd be just,
well,
back to Nerd Talk.
but here's the ultimate statement that you'll never, that most men.
Do you want to re-intro
Mrs.
the show
Howell
real quick?
was smoking hot for her age.
Who?
Mrs. Howell.
Mrs. Howell. Wow.
All right, you got to explain a little more than that.
I'd have hit it. James, I'd have hit it.
I don't even know who you're talking about. I feel like I'm left out.
Gilligan's Island?
Gilligan's Island?
Mr. and Mrs. Howell on Gilligan's Island.
Everybody, it's like we were talking about during the break. Marianne versus Ginger.
We were not talking about me winning Daisy
Serenity.
Dukes
But it was Mrs. Howell was actually smoking for.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
Kaylee from
kinda get
Serenity.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
anyway, during the
Mechanic.
break, we actually changed subjects, and now we're talking about our favorite TV shows of all time.
Yep.
It was actually a question that Dave here brought up, and mine was Batman the Animated Series. You said
was MASH.
MASH. What did you have, Taylor?
Me, I was Breaking Bad. It's just
Barney.
Yeah.
He loved Barney.
Teletubbies.
Oh no! Here's the thing. The first 2 seasons of Barney were amazing, but after that,
It all went downhill.
downhill from there. The kids started getting older. They started being terrible singers. It was terrible.
And Teletubbies invaded.
Yeah, but what was your greatest TV show of all time?
Oh, Firefly.
Firefly.
Yeah.
Which is
Right there
also-
with you, man. I loved that show.
I love the movie.
I know he can't hear me though.
Yeah, Serenity.
Serenity.
Why can't I hear you?
Not you.
No, him.
Yes.
In here.
He's agreeing with you. He thinks it's the greatest
Good.
show of all time as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was tragic that they just did 1 season.
Right. Yeah.
And they.
Well, I heard it was cost. It was just. It was too much.
It was their best show.
No.
Man.
So Joss Whedon, who is a god, right?
Yeah.
Joss Whedon wrote he wrote a blog post where he kind of described everything that was going on with Firefly. And what happened was, Fox didn't. The marketing people at Fox had no idea what to do with the space western. They were like, what do we do?
Right.
How do we market this? And they put it in a bad time slot
Yes,
where it
they
was
did.
up against a bunch of other popular shows, and they basically just ran it
It
into
was
the
Sunday
ground.
night, right?
Yeah. So it was an expensive show relative to some of the other crap that Fox
Right.
was doing at that point. But it was, it never got a chance.
Right.
They only ran, I think,
What
10
I don't
episodes.
get is that why didn't Sci-Fi pick it up? And now Netflix has the opportunity. I mean, they could definitely. They're running Daredevil.
Well, the problem now is
give
that
us Firefly back.
all of the stars from Firefly are like megastars
yes.
now. I
Yeah.
mean, Castle and
I don't know. Summer Glau still shows up in weird stuff, like we were saying during the break. She showed up in Arrow.
yeah.
So it's not like she did the Sarah Connor
Chronicles.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
gonna
she was
say
on Big
Terminator
Bang.
Genesis. Yeah, Big Bang. So and she's definitely like that, like a nerd's wet dream. So I'm sure she'd be down for it.
Give me
know,
the kids of Firefly.
like
Yeah,
Fuller
'cause
House
that
or
always
something.
works well.
Yeah.
The kids of Firefly. Yeah, no. No, thank you.
I'd rather not.
Sorry.
I first caught on to Firefly. To me, it's Serenity because I never actually watched the show,
Yeah.
and it was after the show had been canceled, and I was in like Movie Stop or something, and I said, "Hey, this looks cool," and grabbed it. Plus, it was during the time that Summer Glau was on Sarah Connor Chronicles, and me, when I get into things, I have to buy everything of that,
Yeah.
So if it's Batman versus Superman, I got lunchbox, underwear, socks, action figures, puzzles, games. I have to have it all. So I was on a Summer Glau kick, and I ended up with that movie and totally fell in love with it, and didn't know for a good, it took a while for me to figure out there was a TV show. So now I'm like, why don't we have this anymore when Netflix is picking up they picked up Trailer Park Boys, and it turned out good. So why not? Like, why are we not getting Firefly?
So, we live in like a golden age for media, for movies and print, and, with crowdfunding and,
Kickstarter will totally get that
all the
done.
channels that, Serenity was made because all the fans contributed the money.
And I learned that later on.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I don't know if you guys are fans of what's the. They just remade a movie of another television series. It's the young girl, high school girl who's like a private investigator.
Oh yeah.
Inspector Gadget?
No.
Yeah, we know who you were fantasizing about, right?
Yeah, and I saw the movie and what is it? Oh my
Carmen
God.
Sandiego? No.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No.
They just found her. She was hanging out with Waldo at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
I can't remember the name of it, but it had the same thing. They came out with a movie for.
She was a private. Her dad was a private eye.
She was a private eye
in school, and she always got people in trouble. And
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but the same thing happened there.
It was a 90s show, right?
Yeah, it was a 90s show. It ran for 3
Was it
seasons.
with Michelle
and then in the
Trachtenberg?
4th season, does he have it?
Was Michelle Trachtenberg in it?
Michelle Trachtenberg?
Was she in it?
Was she in it?
Show me a picture.
I can't remember.
It was one of those Nickelodeon type shows like Goosebumps or something.
No. This was hardcore.
CW.
I mean,
It was a CW show.
She was investigating murders, right?
Right.
So
Oh,
it was
yeah,
pretty
sure.
hardcore. And I'll think of it in a minute.
Yeah.
But anyway, they ended the series, and then there was a Kickstarter campaign, and they got the movie made because of the Kickstarter campaign.
Man,
So,
we should probably like get on social media and just push it out and try to get Firefly back. I'm really surprised it hasn't happened yet.
oh, there's a huge fan following, like the Browncoats.
They have a tabletop game that's really awesome too.
Yeah.
That I see a lot of people playing.
The reason why I don't understand why it couldn't happen, and bear with me on this, I don't know if any of you have heard this, they are taking a very, very famous movie franchise and putting it into TV.
Friday the
Lethal
13th?
Weapon.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Lethal
Really?
Weapon is coming to TV.
How are you going to do a TV show about Lethal Weapon?
I don't know. I mean, that sounds like
stretching it.
bastardizing the brand,
Yeah.
right? There,
It sounds like me, the people in
Some
Hollywood
things
are
should
running
not
out
be-
of ideas. That's
Yeah.
what it sounds like.
I agree. I
it's-
was just going to say that. Something should not be touched.
Well, Mel Gibson and
Like
them
the
are coming back.
A-Team.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, it was not
Yeah.
a good movie at all.
So
No,
it's
it was
going to be the
horrible.
new generation of Lethal Weapon. It's going to be younger. It's going to be the young Robert
Didn't they
Murdaugh.
do this with 21
and, like,
Jump Street already?
Yep.
yeah. Now, how did that go?
It
It's,
It did
Both of
pretty,
them.
like, for,
I don't care how it did it. It sucked.
they were for the money they made. They were successful.
You know, I'd rather
You
see
didn't
them.
even get a freaking Johnny Depp cameo.
What are you talking about? And
Just-
21
21
Jump Street? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it did the first
Yeah,
one.
he
Did
did.
it?
Yeah.
He
Well,
definitely.
that's how great that movie is. I don't even remember it.
Yeah, he was the undercover cop, and he had the mask on.
Oh, the French guy? Was that him?
He was one of the
like a
he was like
French
a
guy?
biker dude.
Anyway,
You had
moving on.
no idea it was him.
Yeah. So, what's the best comic book television show that's out right now?
I
What do
would
you
say
guys think?
Flash. The Flash, for sure.
You
Yeah.
like the Flash?
Yeah.
I love Arrow. Like, I mean, it's
Walking Dead.
I
Well,
mean,
there you go.
Wow, yeah.
Superhero.
Oh, superhero.
Yeah.
Walking
Superhero.
Dead. Rick's
well,
awesome.
technically, Rick's a superhero.
No, he's not.
I mean, who else?
way.
Who else can get beat up as
We all
much
know
as he
Daryl's
does
a
and
real-
actually
real
live?
BA on that show.
So not Supergirl, really?
I
like Supergirl.
Supergirl's all right.
It's an
I like
interesting
Supergirl. What's wrong with
show.
Supergirl?
It's kind of scary so far.
It's
But
an
no,
interesting
Daredevil
show.
I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They did a
I
good
like
job with
Daredevil.
Yeah,
Daredevil.
Daredevil. Dude, Vincent D'Onofrio in that movie is a scary dude. I mean, show. I said movie,
I
but
want to
show.
see something for Robin.
Really? We can go longer if we need to.
Are you talking about, you want to see, like, are you talking about...
Batman's
yeah,
Robin.
Yeah, right.
Like,
So
I
which
wanna
one?
see-
You want to see Damien?
I want to see Damien. I would love
Damian
to
Wayne.
see.
That would be cool, actually.
I'd love to see something. Like,
I wanna
because
see
we haven't
Damian
gotten
Wayne.
anything from Robin.
See, I want to see Gotham, but not Gotham 20
Cool.
years before. I want to see the, Batman Incorporated.
Yeah, well,
thing.
like
that would
it
be
would be
cool.
nice to see like Robin like have his own kind of thing going on, but like at certain episodes he goes to Batman and like, hey, I need your help on this or something like.
So there was an animated, I think it was called Bad Blood or something like that.
Yeah,
but there's an
it's
animated
new-
one that just came out, and it's
just released.
It's Batwoman and Nightwing.
Batman's
and,
missing.
And Batman's missing. But it's cool. I mean, the interplay between all the different characters, and
Or at least give us an animated series on Netflix or Hulu.
Well, the sad
instead
thing
of a 2-hour movie.
The sad thing about the animated series is we had some really good ones, like Young Justice was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one of the
and
best
now they've
ones made.
replaced it with these, these Teletubbies type. What's the new
Teen Titans
that
Go is so terrible.
Yeah,
Kids love it though, man. My daughter's
love it.
obsessed with it.
3-year-olds love
Yeah.
it.
But
Right?
Teen Titans before that, when the one that originally came out on Cartoon
It
Network
wasn't nearly
was
as-
amazing.
It was great.
It
was
wasn't. It
amazing.
wasn't nearly as bad as it is now. That's
You,
for
you
sure.
guys see the Green Lantern animated series?
Yeah, it was horrible. I didn't dig it at all.
Which one are you talking about, man?
The recent one that was all CG.
You didn't like it?
I couldn't get into it. No.
Wow.
The CG, it's just, you know what? Like I get why they did it. They played off our emotions because of the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah.
And they used the same art style. So the
I
weird
thought the story
barrel
was
bodies-
awesome, though. I mean, I thought it was
Yeah,
a
it was
really
cool,
compelling
but-
story.
I wanted to see more of the War of Light too. That would have been cool.
Well, you hope that the
can't believe
Green
it ended
Lantern
so
film
fast.
hasn't killed that franchise for like television and movies.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing he's going to show up in the Justice League movie, the upcoming Justice League movie.
He would have to.
Or he's
Yeah.
going to be in Batman versus Superman at some point. We already know Ezra Miller,
Aquaman.
Jason Momoa, Aquaman, and The Flash are going to be in
And
it.
Wonder Woman.
Well, Wonder Woman's a given. Like,
Yeah.
we've known that. But
So here's the question: what are they going to do with this continuity? Is Wonder Woman going to end up with Superman or Batman? Because in the animated series, that was one of the cool things, was that Wonder Woman hooked up with Batman.
Yep.
So what do you guys think?
Because
I
Lois
don't
Lane
know.
was a thing.
Yeah.
I see. The thing is we haven't gotten a full story about who Batman is in in this movie yet.
You know, and they've placed him as being like in mid-40s.
Yeah,
right? So he's older.
We don't know what kind of trials and tribulations he's gone through. We don't know how much. Obviously, in the first trailer we ever got from it, we think that in that storyline, Robin's dead. Or one of the Robins.
Or he's the Joker. That was a big fan theory too.
Yeah.
That he had been tortured and beaten up and by the Joker, because he's 45 or around there. So Joker could have already lost his marbles and killed the Joker like he did in Dark Knight Returns. He does kill the Joker, and this new Joker is, you know, Tim Drake. You know, instead of being Red Hood, you know. Oh man, I'm telling you, that's what I think is going on.
I don't know.
That's what I think is. I think that it's not the Joker. Obviously, the tattoos, the real Joker. Comic fans, I have no problem with him. By the way, if this was the actual Joker, I'm totally cool with the tattoos.
Jared
Leto. Jared Leto. But people are saying that the Joker would never sit that long for him to get tattooed, and I'm like, okay, he would, because he could sit that long to assemble a bomb.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm pretty sure. But why would he do it? He wouldn't.
There has to be a reason.
Yeah. It's because he's damaged, and they're trying to show that. But I mean, you don't have to do the tattoos to get that across. So that kind of, I mean, it's not the real Joker. You know what I mean? It's got to be like.
It's a different interpretation of the Joker.
Well, yeah,
Totally.
that's at the basic. You know, basic thought process will tell you that. But what if it is Robin? And that's the whole trick to it all. That Robin had lost his marbles by going through so much with a madman that he became a madman.
Yeah,
and adopted. Comics do this, man. You have Patchwork 1, Patchwork 2, Blockbuster 1, Blockbuster 2. You have different versions of the same. Granted, they're usually brothers at some point, or, you know, like even in Arrow with White Canary and Black Canary.
Yeah.
So why can't we have a Joker 1 or a Joker 2? And he's just a copycat.
Yeah.
That would explain away the tattoos and things
maybe
like
Wonder
that.
Woman goes with Aquaman.
That's totally
Well,
what's
I mean,
going to
it is
happen.
Momoa, right?
Well, it's not just that. It's king and queen. I mean,
I just want to see Aquaman finally
Kick
get
some
off.
ass.
Yeah, like this whole '90s, like when he became
dude,
the
you're
orange and he
talking about
rode around
Aquaman
with
since
and the
his
little fist.
inception. Yeah, with
We need to
Aqualad.
get away from that.
Yeah.
I want him to be the son of Poseidon, like he was. Like I
The
want.
current comic
So wait.
book Aquaman is epic, though. He's awesome.
He is awesome. So you're not a fan of like the orange scale mail and the green tights?
Oh, come on, man! That was
Come on.
the best Aquaman.
I know.
What a bummer.
We'd
If
be
you're
like,
watching the old
and the little goldfish would come up to him and be like, "Let's go get the bad guys."
Yeah, hey, we gotta go have a battle in the desert. Sorry, dude. Yeah. We'll bring a fishbowl. That might help you.
Why don't you
But
stay
they've
back?
given him more powers now. Like, he's got super strength. He's near invulnerable.
So this is the thing that I've seen that's kind of cool about Justice League is they're kind of upgrading everybody else so that they're Superman class superheroes, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, Martian Manhunter has always been a badass.
Yep.
In fact, you know, arguably he's more powerful than Superman is. And now Wonder Woman is, you know, she's a badass as well.
Yeah,
And
she's blocking bullets with her bracers.
blocked bullets.
But I'm saying, like, back then, I mean, now she can
that
fly.
was her thing. She was blocking bullets.
that's
now
all
she's
she would do.
invulnerable,
And she
super
made you tell
strength,
the
can
truth
fly,
with her-
and
She
She
super
can make me
speed.
tell the truth anytime she
Super
wants.
speed as well. I mean, she's
Yeah,
now
yeah.
she's like there was a recent
Justice League really opened that can of worms.
yeah. So
man.
it's like now
The
she has the
cartoon.
powers of all these Greek gods.
Yep.
And you know, she's as fast as Mercury and as strong as
They tell you more about Themyscira.
And she can fly. And
yeah.
Oh, not only fly, she can knock Doomsday through a wall.
All I
That's
want to
awesome.
see is Wonder Woman.
You got to admit, the invisible jet was kind of dumb.
What do you mean, kind of?
There's so many Superman jokes.
Yeah. Yeah. We probably.
Like, come on.
Well, I mean, you go back to the '60s and '70s, you know, the comic books, and there's a lot of dumb stuff in there.
Yeah.
But it was great stuff, though, man.
It was for the time. It was like
exactly.
it was
They weren't
groundbreaking.
writing for an audience that, like, they weren't writing for us today. I mean, comics.
No,
have
they were
grown.
writing for a very sensitized,
Comics Code, dude. You know what?
a
Did it?
very
EC
sensitized
Comics.
realm. I mean,
Yeah.
back then we didn't see what on TV what we see today. We didn't hear about what happened over in the world. We knew when the wars happened that there was, you know, disfigurement and blah blah blah, but we didn't see it on TV. We didn't hear
Yeah.
about it. But now all of a sudden we get, you know, the last two generations have seen war, heads cut off on television. I mean, television.
Oh, dude, did you
it's
see the?
brutal. So they've got to really amp people up, or you're going to lose them.
Yeah, did you see the Michonne where they replaced her sword with a lightsaber?
No.
She decapitates like 15 zombies in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was on, primetime TV on Sunday night. So we've definitely come a long way.
If you don't, and that's why the whole comic books back in those days were,
You had the code because of EC Comics in the 50s. They came out with distasteful material with the whole Tales from the Crypt, House of Horrors, Vault of Horrors, things like that.
Well, some of the
government
early,
got involved.
Some of the early comic books, in the 30s and 40s, were really off the hook. That was
Joker
where
originally was a maniacal murderer.
Well, even before that, right? Porn, seriously, that was the medium for expression for all of kind of the
the risque stuff.
The risque stuff, the non-mainstream stuff. That's where it went.
Captain America fought Hitler. And
kicked his ass.
He
punched
did.
him right in his melon.
So it's a whole different world now. So they're just gonna spin. We were working with Marvel back in the '80s, and we were one of the first colorization companies.
So you're why that Fantastic Four never made it to air.
That's not my reason. But and it's. Even then when we were working with them, their stuff had to be mainstreamed enough for the 10-year-old to go buy it off the stand.
Yeah, but I think DC changed that with Keaton's
Dark Horse. I'll tell you where it changes when comic like Dark Horse, those guys,
the Predator,
they changed a lot.
Yeah.
They made it more mainstream to get dark. And once Marvel and DC saw that Dark Horse could do it and do it well, that opened the floodgate up.
Yeah. But you go back to the first graphic novels. You go back to Miller with
Watchmen,
Watchmen,
and
Dark Knight Returns, and then
V for Vendetta,
and then you begin to see characters that it's. The blood is off panel, right? But it's there, and that's Wolverine, right? So when Wolverine appears in X-Men and becomes, by now he's one of the most popular characters.
He's
as popular as Superman or Batman. But you had to think about it as a kid. You're like, he's got these claws, and I remember this one sequence where they're in like Khazar, what's it called, the Lost World or Lost Lands or whatever it is.
Yeah, I know, Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur and all that.
So Colossus throws Wolverine at this pterodactyl, and he brings it down by basically eviscerating the whole thing.
Right.
And there's no blood flying or anything,
let me call you back.
You get the idea, right? This guy's gutting this thing, and you'd never seen that before, right?
Right.
And it's kind of hard to have unbreakable adamantium claws and always be like passive. Right? It's not like he's knocking people unconscious, right? He's killing people.
Well, think
Would you fall down?
The Deadpool, and there's been multiple times where he's like dismembered Deadpool.
But that's even Deadpool's even 10, 15 years after Wolverine appeared.
Yeah. When Frank Miller was writing him, it was probably the best run Wolverine's ever had.
Yeah.
And then he fought the Hulk and stuff, the Gray Hulk.
Yeah,
the famous cover.
Well, and the DC answer to Wolverine was Green Arrow, right? And he, because early on he was kind of a joke, like punching bag arrows and stuff like that. Right. But then when they came out,
I'm waiting for that to show up in the friggin' Arrow show. Like,
wouldn't that be cool? They
Just
need to do
it
that
one time for us.
It's one of those things that everybody will, all the fans will.
You already ripped off enough Batman. Just give us some actual Green Arrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the Oracle now. It's not Oracle. What's her name? Watchtower or something?
Yeah.
Overwatch.
How long do we have, James?
We're done.
We should probably shut the show down.
We're 10 minutes over now. So.
Are we really?
Yeah, but it's awesome.
But man, it was really good having you on the show. Hopefully we can have you on the show again.
Yeah, let's have you back.
You've been one of my favorite guests so far, and I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Hey man, any chance to talk about comics is
Let's do it.
That's awesome.
So thanks for watching Nerd Talk, and this is Dave Etheridge, our very special guest for the show. I'm Tech the Batman. Darth Taylor is over there. That's Boss Tech, and back in there is Utter Tech, the Sausage Link. Thanks for watching Nerd Talk, and we'll check you guys out next time. Or you check us out, which I don't know. Whatever. Watch us.
See you.